Well, here we are again. James Harden's once again joining a new squad, and he'll be teaming up with some of the best basketball players in the world in pursuit of his first NBA championship. He's saying all the right things. He's talking about how the whole team will need to make sacrifices in order to win, and how he's willing to do whatever the coaching staff asks from him as long as the team is winning. The whole thing is too familiar. But the question that remains is, can this time be different? Will these pieces on the Clippers actually provide the right chemistry that'll allow Harden to finally win a title? Let's get into it. Let's start off by breaking down James Harden's game at this point in his career. At age 34, he's no longer winning scoring titles, he won't be attempting 20 field goals per game, and he won't lead the league in free throw attempts. That's not necessarily a bad thing, especially now that he'll be teaming up with 3 other future Hall of Famers. But what Harden still is an elite offensive weapon in the NBA. Anyone doubting his offensive capabilities hasn't watched Harden play. The guy led the NBA in assists per game last season and shot the three-pointer extremely reliably. He has a unique ability to see the court and control game flow that makes him one of the all-time most efficient offensive basketball players. That's not to say that there aren't limitations to his game. To put things lightly, Harden isn't going to be that guy diving on the floor to try and make a play. He isn't going to be charging the offensive glass for second chance points, and definitely won't be hustling back defensively to break up any plays. In fact, Clippers fans shouldn't be expecting to see hustle plays from Harden at all. It's not his style. He's very calculated, and if he thinks that the chances of him making a play are low, he won't even attempt to make it. The problem is those moments add up over the span of the season and over the span of a career. Now, Harden can look back at a whole lot of close games and what-ifs and wonder if he could have advanced had he just made the extra effort 100% of the time. He had a legitimate excuse in Houston since his usage was so incredibly high. In fact, he probably exhausted more energy than just about any other player in the league during that time. But in Philadelphia, he had the MVP on his roster and still didn't seem willing to engage in the nitty-gritty details that are expected of role players who have to fight for their NBA lives every single game. At this point, we don't expect Harden to change it up. He is who he is, and he is an all-star caliber player. But is he what the Clippers need? On offense, he should fit very well with Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. His elite passing and shooting ability will only make their lives easier. He'll create space for them, and if he's left open, he most definitely will knock down open shots. On defense, he's a great fit with George and Leonard as well. What Harden lacks defensively will be somewhat hidden since George and Leonard are 2 of the best perimeter defenders in the league. Other role players such as Terrence Mann, Norman Powell, and PJ Tucker will complement Harden very well. Throw them on the floor and they'll bring energy, defense, and shooting. Sounds perfect, right? Well, we're forgetting one thing. Russell Westbrook. Westbrook, another future Hall of Famer, is the team's current starting point guard. Much like Harden, he's an extremely ball-dominant player, but their playing style is almost opposite. Westbrook is an inefficient offensive player, but he's one of the hardest-working and fast-paced players in the league. He isn't a good shooter and has had to adjust his game as he's aged. But he still has a lot of pride. His playing style has been a decent fit with George and Leonard because George and Leonard are quite easy to play with. However, management brought in Harden because early in the season there have been some glaring red flags that the Clippers realized they needed to address if they wanted to make a deep run in the playoffs. Teams have been daring Westbrook to shoot and have been willing to collapse on George and Leonard on the wings because Westbrook's been a bad shooter throughout his career. He's actually shooting a career high from 3 so far this year, but opponents aren't scared of him. The expectation is for his average to drop back down closer to what they have been from the three-point line throughout the rest of his career. Though Harden, in theory, should improve his offense and push Westbrook into a role player coming off the bench, that may not play out as smoothly as Clipper fans would hope. Westbrook and Harden are both extremely prideful players who demand the rock. And the Clippers have built a culture and camaraderie on the philosophy of allowing players to be themselves. Even Tyron Lue has indicated that he won't be shifting away from Westbrook as the team's starting point guard. He told reporters recently, I think when they're both on the floor together, at some point just having James more off the ball, running our wings and quicks and coming off pen downs and things like that, and let Russ go handle so he can engage his defender. So that's what we talked about the last 2 or 3 days. Just when they're on the floor together, just making sure James is off the ball and let Russ be more of the point guard. Clearly, he thinks he can feed all the egos on the team, keep all his players happy, and win. And this is where we see some major issues arising. For one, Harden won't want to play off ball. He may say that he's willing to play off ball, but he wasn't willing to do so in Philly, and that was a major reason for his departure. And realistically, playing him off ball and letting Westbrook be the primary decision maker on offense is just a bad idea. Of the 4 starters on the team, he has the lowest IQ as a ball handler. He has other attributes that can make him a good player, but there's a reason why he only has won 1 playoff series since he was split from Kevin Durant. Putting the ball in Westbrook's hands is going to force Harden, George, and Leonard to make more offensive sacrifices than what would likely be best for the team. And what's worse than the offensive fit will be the team's defense. The reason Harden could potentially be hidden defensively is because Harden and Leonard are so elite guarding the perimeter. But with Westbrook and Harden both on the floor, George and Leonard will need to take greater interior responsibilities. The team will be too easy to attack, and George and Leonard won't be able to make point guards' lives miserable, which is one of the greatest advantages they hold. Top teams in the West will have an easy time exploiting a group that consists of both Harden and Westbrook on the floor at the same time. The Denver Nuggets will use passing and ball movement to dominate Harden and Westbrook in too many spots, and the Warriors will also use their speed and passing to exploit them as well. The only way we could see the Clippers winning is if Westbrook makes major sacrifices and isn't in the team's primary lineup to finish games. And we don't think he'll do so willingly. Harden's contract expires at the end of the season, and he'll have all the motivation in the world to be on his best behavior. But the other 3 stars have opt-out at the end of the season too. And let's be real, the clock is ticking on all 4 NBA stars' careers. With so many question marks, uncertainty, and history playing out in their favor, we doubt that the Clippers will win the title. They'll make the playoffs and could even win a round or 2, but if they plan to roll out a starting and finishing lineup with Westbrook as the primary ball handler and Harden playing shooting guard, they're as good as burnt toast against either the Warriors or the Nuggets, 2 teams with proven chemistry that know exactly how to take advantage of mismatches. But what do you think? Will the support of Kawhi Leonard and Paul George prove to be the right fit for Harden? Will the Clippers maintain chemistry throughout the season and playoffs, or are they destined for more drama? Let us know in the comments section, and please show our channel some love by subscribing right now so you're up to date on more sports news and insights. Thanks for watching.